Boys, what is up? What is up? It is acting week 16. And guys, I was talking last week. For those who are new here, I'm 16 weeks into acting. What is that? 4 months. I am in the middle of nowhere, Ontario, in Saugeen Shores, Sauble Beach area, if you know where that is. And I'm moving to Toronto in 4 months to go to Seneca College for acting. And I'm super fired up for that. And last week, I just made my resume and just started signing up for these casting websites because I was like, oh, as soon as I get my headshots, which I got a set done, I was like, I'm going to hop into an agency. I'm going to try and get my agent. I'm going to try and get an agent. But then I learned about these things called unions, where there's union versus non-union work. And if you don't have much experience or training and you head into the union, you kind of get wrecked. So I thought it best to stay non-union and look elsewhere for the other things that are out there. So for me, what I've been doing, I've been checking the depths of the internet. I got on a casting website, started paying a little monthly fee for that one. I didn't see too many others that look super promising. I probably will get onto another one, but I got onto one and I joined a few Facebook groups. And what I've been doing is I've noticed that there's some student films, some short films, mostly unpaid, but some paid. And right now, guys, I don't really give a shit if it's not paid, because right now, just for me to be able to go out there and act and go out there and get some credits on my resume and go out there and do something fun. Guys, I had so much fun this morning when I saw that there was a posting for a sports commercial, and I just started yelling right here. I'm in my parents' laundry room. It was 9 a.m. and I saw it. It was posted 1 minute ago. I'm just like, fuck it, let's do it. I reenacted when I watched Russell Westbrook live hit a game-winning or like an overtime sending 3 for the Lakers against the Raptors, and I was at that game, and I was like, let's do it. And I just had a phone call with a guy who is shooting a short film in Toronto in the winter, which would actually be paid. And this is my first time actually talking to like a real director. And is he super famous? No. Is this like some huge production? But guys, no, it's not. But like, this is for me, a win to be able to even talk about the logistics of all this stuff. And it's just been fun because I was struggling initially really early in the documenting series. Guys have been documenting this from the beginning, and I will continue to do so. But I was struggling to get motivated to do my monologues, to just do them in my room, because it was like, oh, I'm just like not really doing them because nobody's ever going to see them. But now submitting them for auditions, like it excites me, because I can just look at real scripts. And I did a read with my buddy. I made him come over and we just sat beside each other. There was a voiceover part, and he just did it. And we just like walked through the scripts. We just kept dying laughing. That was really fun. The sports commercial one was fun. This conversation with this guy was fun. Even making up my resume and applying and looking at all these different roles, I don't think that I'm actually going to get much because I don't really know how to optimize my profile quite yet. And I don't have a resume that actually has any credits yet. But, you know, I'm liking Facebook, and I'm going to try and maybe orient my Instagram for acting so that I can actually start requesting or following Toronto directors and people, and maybe they'll post casting calls and stuff on their stories, and they're like, oh, I need a guy for this and this. That'll be better for when I'm actually in the city. For now, my goal for the rest of the summer is to get 2 credits on my resume. I don't really care what it is. I don't care if it's paid or unpaid. I don't care what really it is, as long as it's not like obscene and insane. But just to be able to act on camera and do what's fun, it fires me up, man. And just I remember like with sales, and it's making me feel something talking about this. But I remember with sales, if you've never watched me before, I was in sales for years where there was so much resistance, and the hustle bro environment is just like, just push through the fear, just push through the thing that makes you uncomfortable, just keep doing things that you hate because eventually it'll pay off. And that was so disconnected from like my purpose and my life and just the things that I actually want to do on this earth while I'm favored by God because he has allowed breath in my lungs. He has given me grace to be here when it could have not been that way so many other times. God's given me grace to be here. So what I need to do, capitalize. I need to capitalize on my youth, my energy, just this feeling that this feels good, this feels right. It feels like I'm doing something exciting and that eventually will be meaningful. It's not right now, and people will maybe look at me and be like, you are in an unpaid commercial or short film, and nothing happened. But I got better at acting. I got better at being in front of the camera. I met some people. I served a story or a product or something. I did something. And I enacted my free will doing something that actually means something to me. That's what I care about. It's like I did something that not everyone understands, not everyone's going to be into, but shit, man. What else? What else is there? I pursued money as hard as I could, and so much resistance would come up. It was like I wouldn't even want to get out of bed. And I fainted last year from just sheer burnout after being on like 6 different sales jobs over the course of like six months, and coming home, then fainting, and then someone in my family getting sick. A guy that I grew up with, he passed away. And I'm just like, hey man, we gotta make hay while we're here. We gotta make hay while we're here. Because nothing else really matters. Except the work that actually fucking means something. And that I think is my resistance to a lot of jobs, but I'm starting to understand, like, working a labor job where I don't really care about the outcome. I'm not super attached to the work at all. I just don't really care at all. And that just provides me with like a sense of peace, where sweet is the sleep of a laborer, said King Solomon in Ecclesiastes. But the man who worries about his riches, he spins and toils and he never gets any good sleep. I can see that, where as soon as I walk off the premises, I'm done. And I just got a new maintenance job. It's chill. It's fine. It's doing the purpose that it's there to do. It's a job. But this is what I want to be doing. This fires me up. Even reading scripts and sending emails back and forth to people, it gets me excited. And I find that the resistance is lower because I'm trying to not force anything. And like, if somebody held a gun to my head and be like, you need to be on like a network TV show in a year, what would you change about like how you're approaching this? It's like, I could lock in super hard and like, be obsessive about everything, where everything's all acting all the time. You're 100% risking your entire life and existence for this one goal, but all else would become futile. I've seen it with myself, where if you genuinely, sounds so cliche, not advice for you guys, because I don't give you guys advice, because how the fuck can I give you advice from my parents' basement? Anything that you set your mind to, and you say, I refuse to accept any other outcome, that thing will come to pass. It might not be in the timing that you want, might not be in necessarily the exact way that you thought it would, or how exactly you want it to be. It'll come. You just gotta not stop. But I think that there's a middle ground where if it's this joyous relentlessness, if those two things can even coexist. I read Tim Grover's book, Relentless. He's the guy who trained Kobe Bryant and Michael Jordan, Dwayne Wade, and he was obsessed with the relentless mindset, where these guys are psychopathic for their goal and everything else becomes second. And I can appreciate that mindset, but I don't want to approach this in the way I want to retain that childlike wonder, that desire to gain wisdom, not just worldly results. And one day I will lose this wonder, when I start thinking about money and these types of conversations in acting. And even with the call on the guy today, he was like, what kind of compensation are you expecting? I just threw out a number. I didn't know what was right to say or what was the good thing to say. I just threw out a number, and he's like, hey, yeah, that's fair. And we just kept pushing. But yeah, it excites me more than I can put into words right now. And I'm gonna get slapped in the face by the amount of rejections. I'm going for a 1 in 100. That's what I think. 1 in 100 self-tape audition submissions will result in a role, or like a good paying role, or maybe even just a paying role. I don't know. Maybe 1 in 1,000. I don't care. Hey, I'll just sit there like a little slot machine, just because it gets me better at acting. It's fun. It's engaging, and at some point I'm sure I'll be sick of it. I'll be like, when's my turn? Right now, I'm just trying to focus on getting better, using each audition and each experience and each conversation to learn more about the industry, about these different things that are going on, and this disillusionment will come at some point. And I can see like people in comment sections, bitter actors or bitter people who didn't make it or don't get to do the thing. But I don't know, most people lose their sense of wonder and creativity by the age of 25 and they stop giving up. So why would I listen to the advice of most people when they're not even pursuing remotely the same thing as me? Just wouldn't make any sense. And we don't do advice around here. So yeah, guys, I'm fired up. I'm just checking those Facebook groups, those casting websites, and those things every day, and just submitting to what I can. Dropping my headshot, dropping cold emails. Yeah, it'll be a grind, and I put a pause on my feature film. I was writing a sports feature film, 50 pages. There's this book that I read a few years ago that is like not super recognized, but I know that book is destined to be a film. I know that it was written as a film. Reminds me a lot of Catcher in the Rye, Good Will Hunting, young man's coming of age story that really resonated with me at the time. And I think that I did a thing where I was starting to just read through the page. I just started recording and just talking to the camera. But then I would talk as the character. The character is David. So I would just talk as David and just have that dialogue and try and get into the frame of that character, because I think that I'd like somebody to write that, or I'd like to write that and produce that into a feature film, to which I don't know a whole lot about that. So I think that's a project that I may or may not be starting soon, or I'll look at some other short films and things to do. But guys, goal for the summer: get lean mean machine. Lean is law, baby. Let's go. I'm gonna hop on the treadmill and do a little walk after this. I was told that I had skinny legs the other day, so I hit some legs yesterday with my boys. There's also my buddy who called me that, so that's life. But yeah, gonna try and get leaner, scale back and tighten up the diet, get more athletic, try and keep playing basketball. I love ball. Just sprained my ankle this week. That fucking sucked, but hey, that's life. You keep it pushing. It's a little mortality reminder every time you get injured. But guys, this is enough yap for this week. All right, take it easy. Also, check out the Substack. Free stuff on there, stuff that hasn't been on YouTube. Kind of like a cohesive website where you get sent new stuff by me. If you want to do that, check it out. Yeah. All right. Take it easy.